Hello, this is Whitney Jones. I'm a teacher here at Florence 1 at Williams Middle School, and I am coming here today to speak to you about a DBQ that was created over the summer with Stephen Corsini from the State Department and the cohort of USC. And what I focused on was the Sons of Liberty, and my question was, were they rebels or revolutionaries? I'm going to go through a quick PowerPoint with you guys so I can show you the basis of how it was created and the indicators and the historical content and skills that were reached through this DBQ. So the introduction to the DBQ shows the picture here. It says Sons of Liberty, Rebels or Revolutionaries. And then I have a picture there. And the Rebels or Revolutionary DBQ serve as a method of analyzing the following events from a social, economical, and political standpoint. So this is just another way that you can dive deeper into the content. You can forefront it. You can do it after you guys already talked about the following actions, like the Stamp Act, the Tea Act, the Boston Massacre, and the Charleston Tea Party. So what you can do is teach all of these things and then have the students try to conceptualize these events and try to figure out were the Sons of Liberty really rebels or revolutionaries based off of their acts. So my historical question, which you would need, which overarches the whole DBQ, and this is what they would need to answer at the end in essay format, is considering the actions of the Sons of Liberty committed against British colonial government, are they deemed as rebels or revolutionaries? It seems very broad. Of course, some of them are going to say, of course they're revolutionaries. That's why it was called the Revolutionary War. But if you sit back and you watch and you pay attention and you look at the sources, you can probably change your mind if you were on the side of the British. And so that's what I have here in the primary sources too. I have some slides from the British side, then I also have some pictures and sources from the American side so the students can be able to gather their own information. So the standard and indicator that is covered is standard 8.2. Basically, the student will understand the cause of the American Revolution with emphasis of South Carolina and the role in developing the nation. And you will be able to summarize the response of South Carolina to events leading to the American Revolution, which is the Stamp Act, Tea Act, and the Sons of Liberty. So those are the standards and indicators that are within this DBQ. Here are the historical thinking skills that encompasses DBQ. Basically, the students will be able to explain and identify factors that lead to a certain event, which is causation, identifying historical events, which is periodization, understanding why events happen, causation once again, and utilizing primary and secondary sources to formulate a hypothesis to support their point of view, which is them using evidence and analyzing evidence, which is all really good, all high DOK levels. Here are my sources. I have Adam S., which is the epilogue, Henry P., founding era speech. The things that are in green, these are all text. I had the Boston Massacre, the British View for number 8, trial testimony. Then what's in yellow are images. So I have the lantern slides of the Parade of the Sons of Liberty. Then I have the Patriotic Barber of New York, or the Captain and the Suds image, and propaganda image of the Bostonians tarring and feathering. So all of these sources, I chose 10. I wouldn't choose any less than 8 if you were to create one of your own. Just so that the kids would be able to understand things from a broader perspective, okay? So on the left here is exactly how the DBQ looks, and I'm about to click on it right now. It says document C. It shows you the source that I have. It explains the source. It says lantern slide depicts a torchlight parade in New York City of Sons of Liberty against the Stamp Act of 1870. The Stamp Act was an act of British Parliament requiring all publications and legal and commercial documents in the American colonies to bear a tax stamp. And so it concludes. So the number 5 comes off of the document A and document B. So the beginning number for document C is number 5. So it says based off the lantern slide above, what is the shared view of the colonists marching? Okay, it's a sign there. The students will be able to image and see the sign and gather what you can see, and they can see the anger on their face. And then on number 6, it says describe the images in the lantern slide that brought you to your statement above. So that's when they can say, all right, I see an effigy hanging in the back. I see them drumming and marching and coming together. Anything they see. And then number 7, when is it appropriate for people to form in groups to rally for a specific cause? Use a modern day example to support your answer. As you see, the questions get a little bit harder. Okay, the first question is, what do you see? What is the shared view? What can you notice about this? The next one is, describe it. What else do you see in this picture besides what I told you to specifically look at? And the next question says, all right, use a modern day example so that way the students can really connect to the DBQ. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on it so you guys can see it a little bit larger. And I'll share it with you if you want to use this in your classroom. So here's the introduction. I have the background of it. I will send it to you guys. Basically, it was saying the colonists believed in no taxation without representation. And the colonists at this point were unwilling even to accept the import tax. We all know this information. But if you see, and you notice at the top here, it says, considering the action of the Sons of Liberty committed against British colonial government, are they deemed as rebels or revolutionaries? This question is above every document. And so document A, like I said, it has the source, and then it has a description, and then this one is a text image. Then I have my questions, which are different DOK levels still. What does Samuel Adams compare obeying British Parliament to? What freedoms is the author referring to? Then document B, and then here is document C that I showed you guys earlier. And as you notice, it's different ones. It's text. And then you have the patriotic barber, Captain and the Suds. And this is one of my favorite because this is supposed to be government, but he's being treated unlike government. So for number 12, it says how the colonists treated the captain a supporter of the British Parliament. Support your above statement with examples from the image above. And when minorities were denied service throughout history, the owner/operator was seen in a negative light. In this situation, any different, and how? So I always try to connect a really hard primary source with new day information. I try to have them think about it. All right, so he's being kicked out of this operation. If someone was to be kicked out now, or think about during the civil rights movement, they were seen in a negative light when they were kicked out of their businesses. What is the difference here between the Sons of Liberty? Okay, and it kind of makes the kids think differently. And then we have the famous picture of the tarring and feathering. You guys get what I'm doing here. I'm just showing them different images and then forcing them to sign papers. And you really have to understand, are they rebels or revolutionaries? What were they doing this for a just cause? Okay, so let me go back here so I can show you guys the essay organizer. So the essay organizer is a way for them to answer that overarching question. And so I'm going to click here real quick. You don't have to use this, but I found like it's really good. Basically, it gives you the introduction, the background information on the topic. They should be able to understand it. Definition of terms contained within the question, and then a thesis. And the thesis is going to be the roadmap for their essay. And so it's going to tell you then if they think they are rebels or revolutionaries. Then we have the body paragraph that tells you the reason why. It's really, really good. So this is just sub-thesis. I think they are rebels because of this. And with that evidence, you will use document A, B, C, or D, etc. down. You will choose one of those documents to support your reason behind what you said in your sub-thesis. And you will continue to do that in your second and third body paragraph, your fourth body paragraph, and then the fifth one will be your main argument and your conclusion. Okay, and then this is where you reinstate your thesis and you summarize the key idea of your argument. So you would take your sub-thesis and kind of do a whole summarization. All right, it's really good. I would do that with people who are just beginning to do DBQs, and I will send you guys all of this information. And so basically, I have a sequence and pace with it too. So day one, your I can statement will be, I can evaluate multiple points of view or biases from primary sources and attribute the perspectives of the Sons of Liberty to the influences of individual experiences, societal values, and cultural changes. And so the students will need to analyze all sources, document A through document J, and answer the questions given. Okay? For a modification, it is suggested to read all the text to the class to assist English language learners and low lexile level students. There is an online source available for teachers to instruct students on how to analyze political cartoons, which is embedded here. And it's several different categories: it's symbolism, exaggeration, labeling, analogy, and irony. And I will also send you guys this link too, so you can be able to show students how to understand these cartoons and these images before you even begin your DBQ. It can probably be like a hook or a prep so they can begin to practice how to understand them instead of just throwing them in the water and expecting them to know how to swim. Alright. Source example and scaffold questions. I went through this with you guys before. I'm going to go over it again with document E with captions in the suds. Here's a source example. You see the picture, and I said, how are they treating him? Support your above statement with the examples from the image above. When minorities were denied service throughout history, the operator was seen as a negative light. In this situation, how is that any different? Okay. And then day two is I can identify and explain the stress relationships among the colonists and British due to multiple causes and effects. So at this point, second day, they should be able to have a point of view, and they will need to establish it by this stage to create a thesis statement for their essay. They will need to use the essay organizer that I showed you guys earlier to brainstorm and identify the primary sources needed to support their thesis. It is also very, very important to allow students to form their own opinions as long as primary sources support their argument. Schmoop.com right here offers a step-by-step method of creating an argumentative essay. So teachers are suggested to use this site to avert the stress of writing. It kind of breaks it down for them, similar to the essay organizer. But if you want to do it all online, you can go to schmoop.com. Okay? And so this is the essay organizer over here to the left versus schmoop.com. So instead of seeing everything at once, you see this one thing at a time. And that will probably give the kids more ease. So you got the get it started, you got the heading, the rephrase prompt, the title, then you have brainstorm, evidence, thesis. That might help a student who may be having some anxiety about writing. And then finally, day three, I can summarize the Sons of Liberty actions toward the British government stemming from the STEM and T Acts. So students will produce a 5-paragraph essay, including an introduction, 3-body, and a conclusion. Primary sources within the writing must be cited when used as a reference, for example, document A, B, C through D. Okay, so teachers must model how to cite sources in the DBQ. Make sure that the students stay according to what document was used. Okay, so I will always try to model it and say, all right, this is what I feel, this is what I understand it to be, and then I would show them how my thesis statement would look like. Okay, and then final product. After working with the document, the following is the description of the final task essay the students need to complete. They will analyze sources for characteristics such as author's point of view, the author's purpose, the audience, and context. They'll be able to make connections between documents and organize them as relevant or irrelevant to their thesis. They will create a strong thesis and support that thesis with the aid of documents provided, and use prior knowledge in documents to strengthen the argument and write in the essay. So if you have any questions about this, please contact me, wjones@fsd1.org, and I will make sure I'll send you everything that you need. But hopefully Ms. Rouse sends that all to you guys in a folder. And you guys have a good day. Thanks for tuning in.